Happening now, if you live in Rio Rancho and you plan to vote in the city's special election a little later this month, listen to this because for the first time there, you have to have an ID to vote in city elections. And today is your chance to get that ID if you don't already have one. News 13's David Romero is here with all the details. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Matt. The city of Rio Rancho is trying to make this process very easy for residents there. Several events are being held where they can help someone get an ID, and there's also another way they can still vote without one. Now, according to the Rio Rancho city clerk, if someone does not have a photo ID on election day, they can still vote, but must come into the city clerk's office within 3 days after the election and show one for their vote to be counted. Otherwise, if someone does not have a photo ID altogether, there are 3 opportunities they will have where the city will help them get one. And today, you can have that chance to take care of that at the following location. That's at the Meadowlark Senior Center at 4330 Meadowlark Lane in Rio Rancho. That event will run from 1:15 to 3:30 this afternoon. Now, city officials say with this new process of having photo IDs, it's one they know it'll work.
So our ordinance is basically verbatim to Albuquerque's. And so a lot of the kinks have been worked out from lessons learned from them. Like I said, this is the first election where this is required in Rio Rancho, but so far it hasn't been an issue.
Now, when you come to get that ID at today's event, you need to bring a utility bill from your home with your name on it, or birth certificate, or social security card. Now, something that they can use to verify who you are, or who you say you are rather, and to get that city-issued photo ID and be able to vote. Matt, back to you.
All right, thank you for all the details this morning, David. For more information about getting these ID cards, just head to our website, click on KRQE links. Happening now at 5:02, if you need a job, today could be your lucky day. There's a huge career fair at the Hotel Cascada off Carlisle near I-40 from 11 to 2 today. It's the Choice Career Fair. A number of companies there, Los Alamos Medical Center, Office Depot, Sandia National Labs, and more, all hiring for a number of jobs, including some in manufacturing, sales, and administration. Take your resume, dress to impress, and good luck to you. And here is a bit of good news for civilian Department of Defense workers here in New Mexico and really all across the country. The Pentagon says it's found more money, so it's cutting the number of furlough days these workers have to take from 11 down to 6. This affects about 7,000 workers at Kirtland, Holloman, and Cannon Air Force bases in the Army's White Sands Missile Range. They started taking 1 unpaid day off a week last month. They're going to keep on doing that until August 16th. But sadly, they're not out of the woods just yet. Defense budget cuts could be even worse this fall. It all depends on what Congress does with the federal budgets. Well, you know those big, bouncy, inflatable houses and jumpy things that kids go? They're a real big hit at parties, but the city says they're also a big headache, and that's why you can't set them up at a number of city parks in Albuquerque anymore. Right now, the city allows the bounce houses in 22 parks in Duke City, ones with a lot of open space. The city clamped down on these fun jumps, as some people call them, a few years ago because they were actually damaging the parks.
Trucks are not allowed on the grass, and so sometimes they would be dropping them off and rolling over irrigation heads, creating a problem. Stakes were being driven into the irrigation system, so we'd get a leak in the pipe and we'd have wastewater.
Now, on top of that, the noise from these inflators and the large crowds caused some neighborhood groups to go complain. So now, if you want to rent one and set it up in a city park, you have to get a permit at least 48 hours ahead of time and pay $35. The Albuquerque police are now on the hunt for a mom whose 3-year-old son got hurt. Then she took him to McDonald's for a Happy Meal before taking him to the hospital. Stephanie Austin is accused of skipping out on her court date Monday for her child abuse charge. Last month, police say she left her 2 kids in an SUV with the engine running. Officers say the 3-year-old got out, the SUV rolled and hit him. He cut his head, leg, and an arm. The boy is now recovering and living with a relative. Well, investigators are also searching for 2 men accused of carjacking another man and even slashing his throat. Officers say the man showed up at this clinic in Los Lunas yesterday, bleeding from a gash in his neck. Now, the man told police 2 guys tried to steal his car while he was at a car wash on Main Street. Then he collapsed and drove himself to the clinic.
Right now, we don't have any suspect information, such as description, what sort of vehicle they were in, or even the weapon that was used.
Officers searched the car wash, but said they didn't find any evidence of an attack there. They're now waiting to talk with the man who was hurt. Well, some of New Mexico's state legislators are now asking the federal government to step into the dispute about Medicaid funding for mental health care clinics here. Governor Martinez's administration stopped paying the clinics because an audit accused them of overbilling patients and of fraud. So the state's now spending more than $15 million to bring in a management group from Arizona to look at things. But some legislators, including State Senator Jerry Ortiz y Pino, worry that suspending the payments would actually hurt mental health care more than it would help it.
The department's position is it's not going to cause any problems. We just bring in these Arizona managers, they take over. We get rid of these fraudulent local managers.
Well, the governor's administration disagrees with that, saying the management group from Arizona will get the job done without affecting patients.
There's been broad agreement that we're following the law in response to the serious findings that approximately $36 million in funding to help those most in need was misspent and not used to properly provide behavioral health services.
The Department of Health and Human Services has received the letter from state legislators, but has not responded to them just yet. All right, new this morning at 5:06, fewer low-income kids are becoming obese. This is good news. The Centers for Disease Control says for the first time in decades, obesity rates for low-income kids who are 2 to 4 years old fell slightly in 18 states, including right here in New Mexico. I looked at this study this morning and found in 2011, 11.3% of those kids here were obese. That is down just slightly from 12% in 2008. And here is a little kid controversy for you. The company The Children's Place is pulling a t-shirt off shelves because some say it is sexist. Take a look. Here's the t-shirt. It's for girls and it says, "My best subjects," then has a check mark next to shopping, music, and dancing, but not next to math.
I think it probably sends the wrong message to young children that all of the other things are okay, but math is okay to leave out, and I don't think that that's right.
Remember, it's just a t-shirt. The company behind the shirt is apologizing on Twitter, saying the shirt will not be sold in its stores anymore. What do you think about it? Send me a tweet, or Kristen a tweet, Matt at KRQE, KVD at KRQE. Does it really make a big deal to you? Anywho, 5:08 now.